Chapter 32. Johnny Ray and the Boise debuted at the Blue Dahlia Wednesday evening. The Blue Dahlia was a bar, disco, showroom complex located on a neon flashing strip of Ventura Boulevard in Sherman Oaks, dedicated to furthering the great American heterosexual pickup. Its facilities included three bars, one with an aquarium big enough to house Orky the killer whale and family, two TV lounges full of marshmallow soft modular furniture bolted to the floor in what at the time were termed conversational groupings, two dance floors, one disco and one new wave, both of which, despite their genre distinctions, always seemed to be playing Shame by Evelyn Champagne King, and the showroom. The Blue Dahlia's men's room was wallpapered in matte black with metallic gold silhouettes of couples coupling in every imaginable position, and one or two I hadn't imagined but did make a mental note to attempt at some later date. I can't vouch for the ladies' room, but one shudders to think. The Blue Dahlia was frequented by a representative cross-section of LA's Caucasian middle-class singles, executive secretaries and bookstore clerks, cab drivers and aspiring actors who waited on tables part-time, real estate secretaries, lawyers, and gophers at Paramount trying to sell that screenplay, the former high school sex bombs and the girls always described as having a great personality, the captain of the football team and the captain of the chess team, the buxom and the bookish, the stumpy and the statuesque, the hunky and the humble, the best of them and the rest of them, the long and the short of them. They all came to the Blue Dahlia, glossy synthetics on their bodies and on their faces the unmistakable look of those who've been kicked in the butt by love, severely and repeatedly. Whenever I began to believe that the gay bar scene had cornered the market on loneliness, I needed only to push open the blue leather upholstered door of the Blue Dahlia to be reminded that loneliness knows no affectional preference. Snooky and I had been in to check out the Dahlia showroom a couple of times before. The general run of the bands showcased were there tended to feature at least two synthesizers and a bargain basement Pat Benatar impersonator as lead vocalist. Preceding us that Wednesday evening was the best of the lot, a band fronted by a young woman billed only as Randy. Randy was less a Pat Benatar impersonator than a one-woman Janis Joplin tribute. She wore a sequin tube top and a pair of electric blue spandex pants that one could only imagine sported, on one severely straining inside seam, that most dangerously misleading of garment tags, one size fits all. Randy's hair looked as if she'd combed it with a Cuisinart. Despite looking like a psychedelic blueberry, the woman was, as Clara might have put it, a stone singer. She had a voice like a cement truck with a killer case of the blues. She moved like Medea on methadone withdrawal. She was wonderful, and she and her band were being moved to Friday nights. Snooky and I watched Randy with the sort of professional respect we made it a point never to waste on mediocre. I noticed with some concern that roughly 1/3 of the audience was paying Randy even the slightest attention. The other 2/3 were watching one another out of the far corners of their eyes, licking their lips in furtive agitation. Hardly a performer's ideal audience. But what else could one expect in a room where the most pressing interest was not pop music, but putang? As Randy closed her set with When a Man Loves a Woman, tearing through the song like the last diva on earth singing the last blues song, me and the boys were preparing to take the stage. Marcia Goldman had Tom Porcelli, the portly mafioso type who managed the place, backed into a corner and was obviously talking his ear off, figuratively of course. Marcia couldn't reach Porcelli's ear about heaven only knew what. Mr. Motto was absently drumming Inagata Vita on the tabletop with his fingers. Bobo was gently but firmly discouraging one pretty Kiana-swathed young lady after another, drawing as much attention as possible to his left ring finger. Steve was not to be found and was undoubtedly in the men's room, almost certainly combing his hair for the 5th time since our arrival, and probably studying the wallpaper for pointers. Snooky was soaking up a Cavassier much too quickly for my comfort, and I was quietly chewing a divot out of my lower lip. As her band began striking their setup, Randy did a modified Jane Mansfield jiggle over to our table, smiling a big, wide smile that lit up her face like Christmas Eve night. "Hi, I'm Randy." She extended a pudgy little girl's hand. Her fingernails were painted to match her pants. Her speaking voice was like Louis Armstrong, whispering the secret of life. "Johnny Ray Rousseau, you're good. Thanks. Her smile widened. Nervous? Vigorous nod. Don't be. They're gonna love y'all. Marcia says you're great and she knows her shit. Somebody called Randy's name from across the room. Whoops, gotta go. Oh, Snooky was visibly bummed. I'd rather hoped you could stick around and hear us. Don't worry, I'm gonna be back in time to hear y'all. I just gotta go and back for a minute. Friend of mine got some toot for me. She patted Snooks on the cheek like a Jewish grandmother. See y'all later. Sing pretty now. Randy, called the impatient voice. Ah, come in shit, and she jiggled away, tossing us a finger wave bye-bye over her left shoulder. Snooky, I whispered, what's some toot? Bobo hissed a spitty snicker. Jesus, said Mr. Moto, rolling his almond eyes. It means cocaine, honey, Snooky explained with motherish patience. Oh, my ever-loyal, sometimes band parroted back.